Hello everyone, Dan14 Prime here, doing another video share out today for the new addition into the Primepire. This is the XM Studios quarter scale Weapon X. Bringing some new old stock into the collection. This piece is getting to be a few years old by now. I just finished up on a bit of Wolverine nostalgia, completing his Volume 1 omnibus read. And man, that just took me back. Wolverine was probably my favorite character when I was a kid. The omnibus concluded with the late 80s, early 90s, when Wolverine finally had his own standalone comic book. I have many of those single issues down in my childhood comic box. And I just got to thinking, man, I got to step up my Wolverine game, get a nice Weapon X piece. So anyway, ticked one off the box here. Decent size ES on this piece from an XM perspective. You're talking 800 pieces. So when this piece was first released, it was pretty easy to come by for a good price. Given a few years have passed, I think it's come to be recognized as probably the best licensed Weapon X statue and one of the best overall, licensed or not, and therefore has been a bit tougher to come by, given Wolverine is one of the most popular characters in all of comics. But found this piece in Asia, got him for a good price on a Black Friday sale, but super happy I did. This guy has everything from that Weapon X series. A lot of talent on this piece. Hive Studios working with the design team at XM. Daniel Bell doing digital sculpt. So a lot of talent involved, and it holds up very well. You know, just a few years later, like I said, it's come to be recognized as a fantastic piece. So really happy to bring this guy into the collection. Final comment before we jump in on this piece. Dimension-wise, it's pretty big for quarter scale because of the elaborate diorama display. It goes about 22 inches tall to the highest screen. The base itself is about a 15 inch circle, more or less. And I think you can fold in the screens vertically to maintain that depth, but the Wolverine lunging claw will take you to about 21 inches deep. So overall, this piece takes a lot of air space to keep it displayed well. Now let's jump in on this piece. So let's start off with the base here. Let me try to get you inside of this thing, because one of the things this piece does really well is provide this wet water effect. So it's inside the broken pod here. You can see the clear resin details making this pool of water. It looks really good, and even more impressive, that wetness is splattered all around the base here and there. You see little drops here and there, and of course it's all over Wolverine's skin. It gives him this shimmer kind of effect. Really excellently done. So here, of course, you can see the shattered pod, the broken glass kind of effect going all around the base here. Just all of this stuff here. Nice, not too clear, a little bit of yellow tinge to it, so it shows up pretty well. And there's good texture in there, crackling, and of course it's all jagged and broken. You can see all of the red injection tubes. So all of this calls back really nicely to the comic book source material. Then here, just around the rest of the base, again, it's like the base of his pod. Little chamber where they kept him, where they were always operating on him, if you will. Some nice hoses, kind of industrial effect and look across here. Again, you see all the broken, shattered pod from a better angle now. You can see what that glass looks like. I think it did a nice job with that. Could have been too clear and you not see it, so I like the yellow sort of tinge. Capsule 1, Department K. Again, just lights some nice details across this. All works really well to the comic book. This whole base, lots and lots of parts, brilliantly engineered in terms of just keys, color coding, kind of putting it together. Super simple, comes with a nice manual, so that was refreshing after some recent statue assembly experiences. But yeah, this base is very solid. Let me just jump up here. I'm trying to get you like more in the background, looking at all of these screens and lights. Granted, it really creates the effect really well. If you want to be super critical, the scale of all of this stuff makes zero sense. When you look how big Wolverine is and you look at how big the screens are and where they are, you'd scratch your head like, why would you have a screen? This looks like a big screen setup, right? With a big sort of leg stand here, knee high. Like, who's looking at a knee high screen? So things like that don't work if you get too literal, but it's meant to just sort of set the scene. If you imagine them maybe farther in the background, it works. But you might sort of look at that and kind of chuckle like I did once I spent some time thinking about it. But it's all for the look. But all these screens are really cool, all kinds of different things going on. You know, looking at his head, his body, there he is in the full pod. We'll get in closer. But many parts and thought going into the overall base for this diorama look. Okay, let's jump in on Wolverine here, Weapon X. Again, Daniel Bell doing a sculpt, so you always know you're going to get a phenomenal male anatomy sculpt. Does all that. This looks great. I think it's a great build for Wolverine. Looks really, really good. And the hair effect on him, just fantastic. Really well done. And again, you're noticing this wetness to him. The shine and shimmer. Might need to go a little bit closer with less light. The light might be washing it out a bit. But he just looks so good. And he's got all the right, the helmet, the boxes and things that they used to do to kind of control him when he was out, when they were trying to like remote control him like a weapon. All of that stuff is there. That's all perfectly comic accurate. So this is fantastic. Just really great comic interpretation brought to life in the sculpt and the statue. Let's jump in a bit closer on this portrait. I love this look, the helmet look. When I got it, I was like, when I thought about buying it, I was like, this will be the only one I'll need and use. It looks awesome. And gives you the most sort of, unique sort of look that the piece can offer. So I love this piece, but I will say I was impressed with the alternate head sculpt as well in hand. So let me just swap that out here. I think they were pretty smart with the design there in terms of how they managed the portrait swap outs in the seams with those straps on the chest and kind of give you a little bit of a whole collarbone look, upper chest. That worked really well. Now this portrait is still, I would say, doesn't look great in photography or in video. Sitting here looking at it on my screen, it's impressed me way more in hand. Like I mentioned, I thought from the pics and stuff I wouldn't even like it. In hand, it looks really good. It's kind of tough. It's got a lot of the wet effect on his forehead and hair, so I think that impacts the photography a little bit. And it's got sort of like this alternate or darker color around the eyes, which makes sense. It's like just this tired, worn out sort of look. But again, that sort of comes through a bit confusing, I think, in photography and on video. So I love this way more in hand than I expected. And it's way better than I thought from looking at the pics. So I think I'll definitely be using that a bit more than I expected, which was not at all. So definitely going to get some swap outs with this look from time to time. And I'll just freehand around here, just some of the background screens all look good. These lights will light up. There's battery compartments. LR44s go in there. I don't have any, so can't light them up, but I'll probably get to it later. I ordered some. I'll post them on my Instagram. You can see it lit up later. Again, if you want to see unboxing and stuff like that, in terms of when I first receive a piece, check out my Instagram, same handle, Dan14Prime. I post all that stuff there, kind of on your unboxing, unpacking, first kind of thoughts, stuff like that. Always on the gram. And all of these screens, they're on these little swivel arms. You can pose them around, swing them around. There he is with the, again, in the pod. It's got a little camera piece up top, kind of like dual swivel arm. Here's the low screen again with the head, trying to avoid some glare. But yeah, lots of attention to detail, all these little rubber cords and stuff. Again, screens don't line up themselves or anything like that, but they give a really good faux effect to, a visual being up on the screen, electronics, cords running everywhere. So very well done. So you have it, guys. XM Studios, quarter scale, Weapon X Wolverine. Super happy to add this to the Primepire. I mean, art direction is a straight out of the comic book lift, so 100% there. I think that loses very little when they move that into a design. Again, some practical compromises they had to make with like screen size and placement for the diorama effect that I mentioned, but otherwise all the design just pulls pretty much off the comic pages as well. Sculpted magnificently by Daniel Bell. Again, just the details pulled through with the paint, the hair that's all kind of etched and painted in, the texture on his skin, the wet effect. What an outstanding finish on this piece. It really just brings the comic book to life, if you will, if a statue could be to life. So it definitely checks a box in the Wolverine collection for me. Thanks for stopping by, checking out the video. Again, links down in the description below. My Instagram, Dan14Prime, and assorted affiliate links. Any shopping either of those links supports the channel, no cost to you. So thank you very much for that. All right, guys, thanks for checking in. See you next time.